Hey guys, I'm here today with a 2018 Kia Rio EX. As you can see, this is the 5-door. Today I wanted to do something just a little bit different. I have a 40-mile round trip that I need to make this morning, and I wanted to see by how much I can beat the factory EPA rated miles per gallon. This car is rated for 32 mpg average, 28 in the city and 37 on the highway. But I think it's capable of quite a bit more than that. So we might be doing a little bit of hypermiling and engage some fuel-saving techniques on this drive. A little bit about this car: has a 1.6 liter gas engine, direct injected, and a 6-speed automatic transmission. Those smallish wheels that you see here are 15-inch wheels. There aren't really a lot of options, if any, in this car. It has power windows, power steering, a sport button, AC, heat, and an auxiliary port and USB ports. It's about as basic as you get. MSRP on this Rio EX is $18,700. As tested, it is $20,225. There are two options on this car: the EX Launch Edition and the red accent leather seat and interior trim. So to start off today, it is absolutely freezing outside. It's about 33 degrees Fahrenheit. I have driven this car some this week, and first let's head to the gas station, fill up. We'll go on the trip and then come back, fill up at the exact same pump for the utmost scientific accuracy, and we'll see how it does. So far this week on the readout, I've been getting about 40 miles to the gallon, which is already pretty promising. I've done 72 miles. It's a decent mix between city and highway, though it's probably mostly been highway driving. I'd say about 80% highway, 20% city. I've managed to get 40.2. On some trips I even was as high as 44 miles to the gallon. Now that's just on the readout. Those aren't real MPG numbers. But I feel like this little car can do pretty well, especially if you're conservative with your inputs and you're actively trying not to burn a lot of gas. As you can see, this is a cold start this morning, and this car does have a little bit of injector noise from that 1.6 liter direct injected motor. You can hear it at idle right when you start it up and when you accelerate. But other than that, it quiets down once the car warms up. Alright, we're pulling into the gas station now. Let's fill it up and see how it does. Alright, so there we go. Let's get everything reset here. Alright guys, we've reset the trip odometer. Got onto the highway. It was basically a direct drive straight onto the highway from the gas station. We are 2 miles into our journey and already getting 34.6 miles to the gallon. Just hit up to 35. When I'm hypermiling, I don't like to hold up traffic too much, so we aren't going to be going super slow. We're going to be keeping it around 60 to 65 miles per hour, maybe up to 70 if necessary. But I don't necessarily want to be that guy who's hypermiling in his little small hatchback. Still though, we're going to give it our best shot and see how well we can do with MPG. So far so good. We're off to a pretty good start. Already at 36.2 mpg on the readout, 36.7 on the readout on the trip computer. maybe we'll find a slower truck to follow or something like that, and that'll definitely help our case. I've got the fan motor turned off. We basically are operating in the most efficient mode possible. We'll turn the headlights off there. I like how Kias and Hyundais show you where your light switches are. Same thing with the windshield wipers. They give you kind of a little readout where you are in which mode. Alright, so 10 miles in, we are at 40.6 miles to the gallon on the drive info. I've been keeping it around 64 miles per hour, and we seem to be creeping up to 41 mpg. The instant readout is giving me about between 44 to 48. Depending on if we're going uphill or downhill, it'll drop down to the 30s. But all of this is kind of a moot point until we hit the pump and actually see what real world number this car puts out. You can hear it's a little bit windy. We are going west into the wind right now, and on our way back we'll be coming back east, so we'll have a tailwind, and that'll probably help our miles to the gallon just a little bit. I'm going to speed up just a tad here just so this truck doesn't have to pass me. See if maybe we can catch up with some of these slower trucks up ahead and do a little bit of drafting. We're about halfway, a little over halfway into our trip there, and still just about 41 miles to the gallon, 40.9. Alright, 15 miles in, we're at 42 miles to the gallon. Still keeping it locked in 6th gear in manual mode so that we don't have to downshift and burn just a little bit more gas. We're going to exit up here in a couple of miles and reach our destination, and then we'll head back. There are some hills up to this area, so we do have that working against us, and we are going into a headwind. So on our way back we'll make up for that, and it'll balance out the equation. I'd say this is mostly just a conservative highway test, not really a lot of city driving on this route. I've been extra careful not to touch the brake since we left the gas station. We're still sitting at around 42.3 miles to the gallon. I'm letting off the throttle right now, and we're going to exit here. Let's see if we have anyone behind us. We do have a cross truck exiting. We'll let things calm down here just a little bit. I'm going to put it into drive. Still coasting here. When you're coasting in this Rio, it does give you just a little bit of deceleration, though not too much. Oh, and we got a green light. Nice. Coasting on that entrance ramp put us up to 43.2 miles to the gallon. Not too bad. Let's see if we can make this green light here. Looks like we've got some construction. Try to brake as little as possible for this. In my experience this week, city miles per gallon has been pretty good too. I've been able to manage on my normal commute actually a little bit more than what we're getting right now on this readout. You know what? I did take a wrong turn. I'm gonna have to turn around. We're gonna be getting just a little bit more city mileage out of this than usual. That construction threw me off. Alright, that wrong turn put me through just a little bit more city driving than I was anticipating, but it didn't really bump us down that much. We're still at 42.5 mpg here. Alright, we are headed back. Just a little quick jaunt here, then we're on the highway. Not braking for turns. still sitting at around 42 miles to the gallon. You know, this Kia Rio it's a neat little car. It rides well. It's super basic. It kind of makes you want to save money. It's got a nice reverse camera. That's basically the only high-tech feature that it really has. I'll be doing a full review and just kind of driving impressions video later on this week, but for now I thought I might try something different. Just see what kind of gas mileage we can get. The trip computer is telling me that I have 409 miles to empty. That'd be pretty sweet to get 400 miles out of a tank in this car. Alright, so one thing is when you are hypermiling, you want to maintain as much cornering speed as you can so you don't scrub off any acceleration that you've already made. So that gives you kind of an excuse to really hustle it around turns. Maintain a nice 45 miles per hour around this corner here. We're gonna get back up to speed quickly, but not flooring it all the time. So put it right at about 65 miles per hour and just let it sit there. Over into manual mode to keep it locked into 6th. Lost a little bit there under acceleration, but I'm sure we'll gain it back on this trip back. Little update here, 35 miles into our trip, we are sitting at 41.6 miles to the gallon. Full disclosure, I did speed up to about 70-75 miles per hour for a few minutes, just to kind of balance things out a little bit. I figured it might be worth showing some normal driving conditions. All in all though, we've been pretty lucky. Haven't hit any traffic, no major stops or pauses. I did have to run through some neighborhood streets a little bit when I took a wrong turn, but otherwise, we're in pretty good shape. We just got bumped up to 42, decelerating from that entrance ramp. We're maybe about 2-3 miles from the gas station. I'll let you guys know once we filled up what the final number is. Looks like we might make this green light, not sure. It's always a little bit of luck involved. Nope, we're gonna miss it. Alright, well. One traffic light. Not bad, I'll take it. Lost 0.2 mpg at that light. No bueno. Let off a little bit early here. Let it just kind of coast down. Just barely making this one. And we're back into the gas station. All right, moment of truth. This is when all is revealed. Let's see what happens. Someone is on my pump, but I will use the opposite side. I'm not sure if that's going to make a difference or not. All right, guys, so this is the moment of truth. I only put in 0.835 gallons and we went 38.5 miles. 38.5 miles divided by 0.835 gallons is 46.1 miles to the gallon. So the trip computer is pretty severely underestimating your actual real world miles per gallon. It said the average was 41.7 over 38.5 miles and 44 minutes. It was mostly highway. I was cruising at about 65 to 70 miles per hour. I'd say my average was probably about 65. And yeah, not bad, Kia Rio. I'm impressed. Well guys, I think that sums it up. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.